Hello, this is Art Johnson again, and we just watched this great creative animated film about the possibilities and kind of visualizing what a Green New Deal would be like, and what the benefits would be. And so we're going to go ahead and resume our share, and then talk about some more good news and more details, kind of a new way of looking at it, kind of from a financial standpoint here. Let's talk about the next book that we really covered, and that's Jeremy Rifkin's The Green New Deal. Jeremy is a very, very innovative activist researcher he's almost like an economist who talks about in his book, The Green New Deal, why the fossil fuel civilization will collapse by 2028. And he has a bold economic plan to save life on Earth. And so this book is really, really good. He makes an economic case for why fossil fuel assets will be devalued. That's based on the fact that it costs less to do solar and alternative energy than it does to even have oil, in terms of getting it out of the ground, processing it, and all the social costs and all the health environmental costs of fossil fuel, which means that already investment people is de-investing. They're not investing anymore in the same oil assets. That doesn't mean that oil companies are not. I think what they're really doing is they're diversifying so they can, think themselves as energy companies, not just oil companies, and then maximize their resources to leverage that. So he makes the case for massive migration to renewable energy and a smart infrastructure. That would probably use artificial intelligence to look at where energy is and delegate it over big distances with new technologies that are emerging. And so his is an argument, not for socialism, but I think he's calling it a social capitalism, as opposed to monopoly capitalism for only a few, through distribution of wealth through fairer taxes. And this is really what's happening, is to get the large corporations to pay their fair share. They don't pay any taxes right now. They have all kind of write-offs and stuff, and to develop a shared economy that's better for people and saving life on Earth than is monopoly capitalism, which can be responsible for a lot of stuff, including slavery and colonialism and neo-colonialism. And so he predicted a predictive change in Congress that moves forward with massive climate action. So he said, one day you're going to have a majority in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and that has happened. It's a very narrow majority, but he's making the case as an economic case for doing this. Then you have the shaming of adults by youth, with young Greta Thunberg came over in a sailboat, and then, as even that had organized youth to have a strike, to walk out of school and say, look, you guys are horrible, shame on you. And she became Person of the Year on Time magazine, and has mobilized many, many more youth and adults to say, yeah, wow, she's really amazing. And now let's go back here, and this is really concretely where I want you to really kind of look at, and this is what I'm going to be doing, reaching out to this, because each one of these 80 plus climate solutions has many, many stakeholders underneath, providing products and services and all kinds of resources that mean jobs and career opportunities, as well as saving the planet. I mean, just look at all these things here. And I don't want to take the time here to go thumb through this thing, but if you go to that link at the bottom and look at solutions, you can start to look at that. So I'm going to be reaching out and aggregating a lot of this, meeting people and finding out what they need, and then positioning what we do and working with you to provide jobs across generations, across cultures, across genders, and across the planet. So here's my calls to action and what's in it for you. Okay, and what's in it for us, that also includes you. Hundreds of climate solutions companies to work for or with. Hundreds of climate action nonprofits to work for or with. Okay, hundreds of government climate action projects to create and receive funding for. We're seeing that already here in Seattle, in this region. I mean, we're a front-running region, by the way. And a virtual cornucopia of climate action, people, organization, events, and resources brought together by us. That's my company, New World Communications. And you means you across generations, across genders, across cultures, across the planet, and from all walks of life. So just because you might be a boomer, I'm a boomer, I'm 75 years young. I'm intending to be a front runner, reaching across generations of people, across genders, across cultures, across the planet with big reach, zero carbon footprint, technology and architecture, virtual architecture you can even meet inside of, to really, find out what's going on with people. And being more effective as a matter of habit, based on this book. That was kind of pivotal for me right at this stage in my life of needing to be more effective, for me and for other people. And it's this process of essentially begins with achieving private victory and independence through the mastery of these habits 1, 2, and 3, being proactive, beginning with the end in mind, which is thinking of yourself at your own funeral and saying, what you want to have people say about you and what you left behind. And, putting first things first in your daily planning based on your personal mission statement and all of that. And then, achieving public victory by achieving interdependence between the masteries of habits 4, 5, and 6. Which is, basically, I think really we need to do this is to think win-win for people. Just because I might be a Democrat or you might be a Republican, or just because I'm straight and you might be gay or whatever, what we have to seek first to understand and then be understood. And we're all different. We come from rural, we come from suburbia, we come from, the inner city, but we all have to reach out and seek first to understand and then to be understood. And that's the basis for creating synergy, necessary synergy, where we become interdependent, meaning that we it's not enough just to have our own job and everything, but we've got to really help ourselves and the planet by, working together in a smart way. And it's a matter of sharpening the saw. Imagine that you're trying to cut down a tree, but your saw is dull. You'll burn out without sharpening your saw. And I'm a tool of God, basically, and I'm sharpening myself, my skills, my habits, and all that. And I encourage you, I'll work with you to help you sharpen yours so we can make a difference in the planet. So the challenge and opportunity of expanding my circle of influence from age 50 in 1997 and to now has really been to, I have a big circle of concern based on stuff I've had experience of, ageism, lack of diversity and equity, and being higher, racism, health issues, wealth issues, experiencing people in poverty. I've luckily not been in desperate poverty, but seeking more prosperity and dealing with injustice and overcoming ignorance with wisdom and making progress instead of regress and making peace instead of war. And now dealing with these climate catastrophes that threaten the whole extinction of species life. And I've been doing it for 24 plus years. And my goal is to take and expand my circle of influence into my circle of concern by mastery of these habits, from private victory to public victory, from dependence to independence to interdependence. And so what I've come up with today, that exists today, is a virtual cornucopia of climate action, people, organizations, events, and resources that I'm bringing together through my New World Learning Institute e-learning services. And so I'll just go about that really briefly. And it helps us on get target. The first is to do virtual focus groups and strategic planning services to ask, what do people want right now? If you're individual person, what do you need? Do you need a job? Are you thinking about transitioning? You go back to just being a waitress, or you want to have a more creative thing? Do you want to work from home? Would you like a job working in one of these green industries, or with a nonprofit, or with a faith-based group? It doesn't matter where, what matters is where you are, to be on spot on and on target. And then this is part of my initiative to develop my YouTube channel and programming service that can make a difference. And we're going to be teaching how you can do this yourself. And most people in organizations do not know how to use YouTube in a way that can grow business in that way. And so we're going to be offering workshops, workshops and courses, how to empower you and your people to mobilize and soar, using Zoom to grow your business, using YouTube to grow your business. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine next to Google, and it's owned by Google. And so how do you leverage that? How do you provide content that people are willing to watch and, to share and grow your business? I'm a kid in a cabinet store because I used to sell broadcast industrial systems way back in the day. And I never envisioned that I could have my own channel or series of channels, and that the technology would be so affordable, some of it even free. This is just amazing. And we're then going to leverage that in terms of mobilization campaigns by leveraging the learning outcomes of our workshops and courses that you enrolled in. And so we've got a whole tentpole marketing idea of, getting people enabled, having business meetings online over Zoom, being social, using YouTube, doing virtual business casuals, creating more critical conversations, doing virtual boot camps that have finally arrived at doing world-class conferences and trade shows. And so we've been developing in the last year, we've been so lucky working with Bettina Carey and her We Empower Your Life initiative and movement. We've done over 5 events every 90 days. These are all virtual events that have been doing a world of good. And now we're building that on our own platform through our New World Learning Institute and Conference Center. And so we're planning to do a world-class event that we're going to invite you to be a part of, during Earth Week of 2022. So we're just really, really happy. And out of that, we're instructional designers. And so we're leveraging our background in public television distance learning to do that over the internet and in the wide world web using YouTube and other platforms. And, way back in the day, we designed a virtual classroom that got us to leave. We were so turned on to the possibility of doing virtual learning that we had to leave and don't wait any longer. I wasn't getting any younger. And we work with multiple e-learning technologies, a whole smorgasbord of possibilities. And I'm working with new people developing their own platforms and power LMS administration and systems level gamification and learner co-authored social learning. We're going to raise the bar. Nothing, way beyond the corporate communications that a lot of people don't like because, employees are not feeling empowered. We found that middle school people since middle school, millennials know how to produce their own videos and are doing it, when they're off of work, they're actually doing more learning that way than what they learned at the workplace. So anyway, and then we'll also be streaming physical world live events and understanding and seizing the advantage. I don't want to take anything away from people who just love being in the physical world. And when that gets more safer, we can also have other people be there just by logging in affordably with live streaming technology in several phases of that. Years ago, when I was at Channel 9, KCTS Public Television, only a few people could do this, and we had to have a whole uplink truck and these big cameras. It was just cost, preventative for even, and then we had a tremendous lag in terms of the signal, even after all of that. Now we can do this with smartphones and other technologies and scale this up depending on the budget and what the need is. And so the whole idea, the whole thing is to leverage the whole enchilada in terms of building global strategic partnership building services. And we're going to do it by creating it from the heart. you guys need to find out about what it is that we're doing, to learn what it is, what's in it for you, to know, like, and trust where we're going, and to open the door to build community with people across the planet. So we invite you to come join us and to contact us via our online form on our website. You can go to newworldcom.com and you can sign up and tell us what you're interested in. And we'll listen to you, and we're really going to reach out to you and form more community in terms of this. So this is pretty much it for this series. And again, we're going to offer it sliced up, and this will also be part of an online course eventually, and workshops and courses. And if you have some ideas that you need to get your communication out, if you're interested in partnering with us, we're going to be sharing revenue on this world-class virtual conference and trade show that will be over Zoom and over even 3D platforms and stuff. We invite you to talk to us, and we will listen, and we are moving fast. So thank you so much for your interest, and we look forward to working with you.